right now. So go ahead.
Welcome to all of our guests. It's 4 o'clock. We extend a warm welcome to Monica. Can we confirm that everyone's here? I think that we're all in the room. Good, good, excellent. I can see some of you. Again, welcome. My name is Jeff Talbot. I'm the Vice President for Research at Roseman University of Health Sciences and the Dean of the College of Graduate Studies. And it's my privilege to welcome all of you, our guests. We have prospective students joining us this afternoon. We have academic advisors and some friends of Roseman. Thank you for joining us and spending just a few minutes together this afternoon. It's my privilege to introduce you to Roseman's newest academic programs, both Masters of Science degrees in biomedical sciences and also pharmaceutical sciences. Just as an outline for how we'll spend our time together, I will, Monica, if you can transition our slide here. I'll introduce you to our university and some of the things that we have been doing in recent years. The most important thing I think I will tell you as part of the presentation today is to answer those two questions that I think have brought many of you here this afternoon. Why the Masters of Science degree for an educational or training opportunity? And even more specifically, why Roseman for your MS education? I think there are some compelling answers to those questions that we hope will cause you to consider us for your training. I'll turn some time over to our program directors to introduce their respective programs, and finally just give some tips for part of our admissions process enrolling for this fall. And then we can end with some questions and answers. So that being said, let's kick off by just introducing you to our leadership team. I've already introduced myself. Dr. Cameron Awan is the director of our MS program in biomedical sciences, and he is a senior member of our College of Dental Medicine's administrative team. Dr. Casey Sayer is our director of the MS program in pharmaceutical sciences, and he is also a senior member of our College of Pharmacy. And then Ms. Monica Diatavio is our graduate programs coordinator. So with that, let me tell you a little bit about Roseman if you don't already know. So Roseman, we're a relatively young institution. We were founded in 1999. That picture there is the campus that I'm currently on in Nevada that overlooks the eastern valley of Henderson in the Las Vegas metropolitan area. We have 3 campuses, 2 in Southern Nevada and 1 in South Jordan in the Salt Lake City area. I want to emphasize a couple of things on this slide. We are a fully accredited private, not-for-profit academic institution. Our accrediting body, the Northwest Commission on Colleges and Universities, is the same accrediting body that accredits institutions that we're all familiar with, UNLV, Nevada State College here in Southern Nevada, and others, as well as BYU, University of Utah. It's just the accrediting body for institutions of higher learning in our region. So we have that full accreditation. We have fully accredited health sciences programs that really span health sciences, including multiple degrees, both bachelor's and graduate degrees in nursing. We offer the PharmD degree in the College of Pharmacy, the Doctor of Pharmacy degree. In dental medicine, we offer the DMD, the dental medicine degree, along with an orthodontia residency program. We offer the MBA program. And now, of course, we're pleased to announce the launch of our College of Graduate Studies and offering the MS degrees that we've talked about. To tell you a little bit more Monica, if you could advance the slide there. Here's a couple of pictures of our campuses, again, in Nevada and Utah. We currently have about 1,600 students or residents. We have over 6,000 alumni. I think I didn't mention from the other slide, our current student body and resident body represents 43 states in the US and 16 different countries. Really a diverse and vibrant group of students and faculty that make up who we are. That point on the right is an important one. Roseman graduates are well prepared to succeed. And this is one measure that really that counts for everyone. For those that choose to take out student loans, the default rate on those is less than 1%. Our graduates are gainfully employed. We're very proud of that number. And if you could advance, Monica. You know, from our research investment, we heavily invest in our research enterprise, which is relevant for our graduate research studies. For most of you, this will be a very boring list, but for some of us, it's pretty exciting. We have very sophisticated state-of-the-art instrumentation to support our research activities. But more importantly, let me tell you about what we do. Monica, if you could advance. We have nearly 70,000 square feet of dedicated research laboratory space. We have a full swath of research support services, including support for human subjects research and clinical trials, as well as animal subjects research, grants administration. We have an excellent medical library that services our campuses. And then, as you can see at the bottom of the slide, we have a wide array of research working groups for Roseman faculty and clinicians that really span what we call basic sciences in proteomics, pharmaceutics, drug formulation, all the way to clinical research and clinical trials. The scholarship of teaching and learning is really researching educational activities and strategies. And then, you know, what's new for us is data sciences and machine learning. That AI there stands for artificial intelligence. You can see really many of the areas in which we have active research activities going on. Just to give you an example, this last year, Roseman University faculty published over 100 scholarly works. We have our faculty who are engaged in grantsmanship. We have active both investigator initiated as well as sponsored clinical trial activity. This is just to represent a little bit of who we are and what we do. So with that introduction to Roseman, let me get to those most important questions to answer today. First, why the Master of Science degree? And I'll make the case, I think, for those of you that are joining us, why that Master's of Science degree is potentially for you, for your prospective students. So let me share with you briefly some data that these are trends in higher education. Really, the master's degree is quickly becoming, in many respects, a new bachelor's degree in terms of what employers are looking for to provide a competitive advantage for job candidates. But also just what a sort of a standard of education is. These are figures shared from the US Census Bureau and Sean Gallagher at Northeastern University. But roughly the same percentage of individuals currently are pursuing master's degrees as were pursuing bachelor's degrees roughly 40 years ago. It's really becoming more the norm. What goes along with that is the growth. And Monica, if you'll transition the slide here, the market trends toward Master of Science degrees, specifically in the biosciences. What you see here is growth roughly from a 30-year period in master's degrees, and in blue are Masters of Business degrees, in orange, Masters of Education, and all others are in the gray. So Monica, if you'll just toggle through, there's a couple of numbers that are going to pop up here. What you see is that for the last 20 years, since 2000, 15 years, since 2007, roughly. MBA and Masters of Education growth has been relatively flat, but there's been almost a doubling in demand for master's degrees, specifically in biological and biomedical sciences. And then what flows and follows from that is income. So Monica, if you'll transition the slide. This is change, the percent change in hourly wages for nearly a 20-year period. And what you see is all different types of training of employees. At the bottom, starting with really less than high school and some college and going up, what I'll draw your attention to there is the red arrow. The most recent and most rapid rise in real income in the United States are those associated with advanced degrees such as the Masters of Science. Monica, please. But that's very general and national data. I want to speak directly to you, our students in our region, particularly Nevada and Utah. There has been a rapid, really an incredibly rapid growth in the biosciences industry in our regions. And by biosciences, as you can see there, we're really referring to biotechnology, medical devices, pharmaceutical and nutraceutical industries. So these are data from our states. In Utah and Nevada, between the two states, there's nearly 2,000 biosciences companies that employ directly nearly 45,000 employees. $10 billion plus in annual sales. And that last bullet point on that slide, I would specifically draw your attention to. It is projected, and these are numbers from the states of Utah and Nevada, it's projected that there will be in this industry, in the biosciences industry, those with bioscience degrees, job openings annually that will exceed over 1,500 jobs. So there is a rapidly growing industry, not just everywhere, but in our regions. So let's come back to that question, why the Master of Science degree? There's a growing demand in higher education for Masters of Science degrees. There's a burgeoning local, regional biotech and nutraceutical, that bioscience industry growth, job growth. What we will spend a little bit of time focusing on is that not only is that Master's of Science degree useful for preparing you for jobs in our industry or in our region, it's also really essential, increasingly in demand for a pipeline to doctoral programs, including those offered by Roseman University of Health Sciences. So let's talk a little bit about why Roseman. Monica, if you will advance the slide there. So why Roseman for your training in a Master of Science program? Really, there are some unique features to us as an institution, and then there are certainly some very specific partnerships that we've developed that I want to share with you, why I think you should consider us for your Masters of Science training. So first, Roseman, we grew up, we're a young institution, but we have prioritized the educational experience. Our faculty, first and foremost, are educators, and we provide an excellent education. We have a mastery learning competency-based model. There are some elements of that that are shared in this schematic that's on the slide. We call it a 6-point mastery learning model. We think it's a strong approach to training the very best healthcare professionals and scientists that we can. I would have you focus on that second bullet point, block system. So what I mean by this is that we don't take a traditional undergraduate approach to graduate education. We really believe in immersion, which means you take one course at a time. So for example, in our curriculum, which we'll learn about here in a few minutes, the research fundamentals course, that's the course that you focus on for its entirety. Students report to us that they highly prefer that approach to learning versus having many different courses that students are trying to juggle at the same time. We also take an approach of accelerated curricular delivery. We think that's important to provide you the training as best and as quickly as we can. That middle bullet set, the ideal preparation for doctoral programs, we'll keep coming back to. These Masters of Science programs do an excellent job in preparing you to qualify for acceptance into professional programs, doctoral programs, and to succeed in those programs. Doctor of Medicine, MD programs, PhD, DMD, dentist, PharmD, you name it. And in fact, Dr. Awan will tell you, and Dr. Sayer, that some of our competitive advantages for you as a Masters of Science student, your successful progression through our program will guarantee you an interview into our professional programs if you choose. And then finally, the last point that I will conclude my portion on is we have specifically tailored and developed our curriculum in this Master of Science program with input from industry and academic leaders in our areas. And let me tell you a little bit more about that and why it's important. Monica, if you'll transition the slide here. So these are some academic partners that we have engaged as we thought about developing a Master of Science program and curriculum for the future. We went to the institutions that our students would go to, both in academic institutions as well as industries or companies. Let me just draw your attention to one I'll highlight, the Nordic College of Osteopathic Medicine. So it's a accredited DO school that has just launched in Utah County, in just south of Salt Lake in the Provo area. Several of their faculty are engaged in participating and delivering and teaching within Roseman's graduate program. So if your interest is in attending the Nordic College of Medicine, a great way to prepare for that is to be taught by their faculty who will be engaged in teaching our students, our Master of Science students. Others of those are listed there where we have faculty from each of these institutions that will participate in the program. That's on the academic side. On the industry side slide, we have had now long relationships with local companies that are thriving in the nutraceutical, in the pharmaceutical, and biotech industries. And again, these are companies both within our states in Nevada and Utah, as well as nationally. So for example, these scientists will be, again, engaged in training and teaching within our program, within our programs. And we, again, feel like this affords a very distinctive advantage for you as a student in one of our Masters of Science programs. You will be taught and trained by the very employers who will employ graduates of our programs. I will come back to this at the end of the talk, but we'll save the formal announcements here for the coming days, but I can tell you that we will have paid fellowships so that students in our program can be embedded in some of these companies and be paid fellowships by them to be trained in the very techniques and approaches in this industry that will help them be successful. Again, we'll be contacting you directly about some of those announcements in the coming days as they formalize, but that will be a component of our program. So there I hopefully have introduced you to Roseman and addressed in part, very briefly, the questions, why the Master of Science degree for your educational opportunity? And why us, why Roseman to provide that training? We think that we're going to be doing it better than really anyone else in our region. And we're excited about that. Now with this, let me introduce Dr. Cameron Awan, who is the director of our Master of Science program in Biomedical Sciences. He'll tell you a little bit more about that program, Cameron.
Thank you, Dr. Talbot. And I also start by welcoming everyone who is here today. I hope you enjoy the whole presentation and get familiar with the new College of Graduate Studies and the two programs which we have eager to launch and offer to potential students. So as mentioned earlier, the two master's degree program we are offering at the moment are a 1-year Master's of Science in Biomedical Sciences and a 2 years of Master of Science in Pharmaceutical Sciences. Both of these programs are designed for individuals like you who are seeking educational, developmental, and professional growth. So what I'll do in a couple of slides, I'll be talking a bit more about the Masters of Science in Biomedical Sciences. The Master in Biomedical Sciences, or MBS program, is an innovative program that is designed for students like you who wish to enhance their academic qualifications and credentials for a career in healthcare. And that healthcare career can be either in going into a medical field, a dental, a nursing, or a pharmacy school, exploring career in research or education, or as mentioned earlier, biomedical or industry. The MBS program is a 10 months long full-time program that is non-thesis based. The students do need to complete a capstone project at the end of the academic year as part fulfillment of the degree. The program consists of 30 credit hours of coursework, of which we have 4 core courses and 2 elective courses. And I'll be discussing those courses in more detail in the second slide. The tuition for the program is $25,000 a year. And when we were developing the program, our focus was not only to offer a program that provides the best learning experience to the student, but also a program that is affordable, but yet not compromising on the quality in any way. So we believe that our tuition is affordable as well as competitive with other graduate programs across the country, as we don't want cost to be the barrier that prevents talented, promising students like you from experiencing the best Roseman has to offer. According to the data from the US Bureau of Labor, employment in healthcare occupation is projected to grow 15% from 2019 to 2029. And that shows that there is a huge demand of graduates in biomedical sciences. The career pathway for these graduates can either be a research associate position, or go to a healthcare professional school, or go into pharmaceutical industry. Looking again at the data, the average salary of an MBS graduate is somewhere between 45 to 60,000 a year. And that again depends on the experience as they get that along their career pathway. So here you can see a detailed list of the MBS program curriculum. As mentioned earlier, the program consists of 4 core courses and 2 elective courses. And just looking at those courses, you can see that all of these courses are designed to focus on strengthening academic credentials in the biomedical sciences, as well as building the communication and critical thinking skills that is required for healthcare careers. So with these courses in mind, the graduate of our MBS program would be well skilled and well equipped to have a career in healthcare field. We also have a journal club and seminar as part of the curriculum that would be held in alternate weeks throughout the academic year. And both of these courses will not only develop necessary skills in reviewing and critiquing research articles, but also enhance graduate student understanding of the current state of knowledge and provide experience in developing and enhancing their oral and written presentation skills. That is also very important. Again, providing some extra bit to our graduates so once they graduate and go out there in the practical life, they would be well equipped and well skilled. As part fulfillment of the MBS degree, students will be required to complete a capstone project by the end of the academic year. They will prepare an in-depth scholarly literature-based report on a relevant topic and present the report in a research poster format. The course will provide an opportunity for students to integrate and apply knowledge through the comprehensive evaluation of core curriculum and all learned field that they have accomplished through the academic year. So just by looking an overview of the curriculum, you can see that we not only looked at the aspect of providing a, 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 a curriculum which will equip students both academically, but also professionally in terms of presentation skills. So when we talk about the MBS program and one would ask a question, why one chose our MBS program and what is the competitive advantages this one-year master's program would have to many other graduate programs which are there to offer. So just to highlight some, our MBS program has definitely additional advantages, and these advantages extend beyond the basic biomedical and academic portion of the curriculum. So starting with, it allows the students to earn a master's degree in less than a year, 10 months to be specific. So a student who has future plans to either enroll in a professional degree program for example, a DMD or an MD or a PharmD program, this will provide a quick way to boost up the credentials to be able to meet the requirement to get into those professional programs. Our MBS program is designed to provide the best personal learning experience to the students, again, in order to support their journey to a healthcare career. So is student-centered and personalized learning experience which our students would have, again, emphasizing the fact that they will be well-equipped and well-skilled. Here in Roseman, we do everything in teams, and the MBS program will be no different. The program will offer a team-based learning environment that will develop and enhance skills in communication, teamwork, professional formation, and ethics. We live by the code of lifelong colleague, and by which I mean that all our colleagues are lifelong. They keep in touch. Our alumni are still in touch. The DMD, the College of Dental Medicine, where I teach and work, most of our graduates who have graduated, they are still in touch. Whenever they have anything, any advice or anything to follow up, they can always get in touch with us. So, and we live by that code. The program will be taught by faculty that have a vast global experience, both in research and teaching. We have been privileged to have faculty who have research experience, who have international exposure, who have contacts across the globe, and that again provides a unique opportunity for our graduate students, especially the MBS and the MSPS students, to get that exposure, more of an international arena, both in terms of research and teaching. And also, like Dr. Talbot mentioned, the MBS students that show satisfactory progress or successful completion of the program will be offered an opportunity to get interview for a position in our DMD program. So again, that also sets this program apart from many, since we have a DMD, a College of Dental Medicine. Those students who enroll in our MBS program and show a satisfactory progress over a period of time, or complete successfully the whole MBS program, would be guaranteed a final interview in our DMD program. And that again, gives them a better chance to get enrolled into a professional healthcare program. So that was a quick overview and introduction of the MBS program. And definitely you would have questions, and I'll be happy to answer at the end of the presentation. I will pass it on now to my colleague, Dr. Sayer, to talk about the Masters in Pharmaceutical Sciences. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Awan and Dr. Talbot, for that excellent introduction to both Roseman and the first of our two master's programs that we're introducing to you tonight. I'm Dr. Sayer. I'm going to be, it's my privilege to introduce to you the Master of Science in Pharmaceutical Sciences, and to point out some of the differences in this program as compared to our one-year Master's in Biomedical Sciences. The MSPS is a 2-year full-time thesis-based program. And that's really the key difference and the one of the best highlights of this program is that it takes the core curriculum that both master's in biomedical science students and pharmaceutical science students will be exposed to and expands on that. In particular, in the production of a research project. Those of you who are investigating graduate school as an option for a career may not know what the life of a graduate student is like. It's a very unique student experience, unlike what you may have experienced in your undergraduate years. In addition to the didactic curriculum, where you will learn a foundation of skills and knowledge, the program is designed to make students into graduates who will be able to be competent as well as able to hit the ground running in the environment that employers find themselves in currently. And this program specifically was designed with that in mind. 36 hours of coursework will be included in the program. That's 4 core courses that we've already been introduced to, plus 2 electives, plus the thesis research. Tuition slightly higher than our one-year program due to these research experiences and expenses that constitute the thesis. The outcome of this degree is something that we were very concerned with. And at Roseman, this is another unique difference in our philosophy, is that we want to create graduates and a product that is going to be highly desired by today's employers. And today's employers who are in the environment in real time and are making differences to health on a global scale, we're heavily involved in the design of this program. The placement of Master of Science in Pharmaceutical Sciences graduates is high, up to 80% placed into employment opportunities and positions. Average salary can be quite high in this area of expertise, averaging at around $80,000 a year. We'll go to the next slide. So you'll see some similarities in the didactic curriculum. What I want to point out, though, is that these courses were carefully designed. We wanted to maximize the benefit that students received from didactic classroom experience, not only in terms of knowledge and expertise, but in terms of applicability. So we have courses in regulatory affairs, we have courses in organizational behavior and leadership, all designed to give students confidence and exposure to the types of environments that they will be employed in, and to give them confidence and skills that will be valuable to an employer immediately upon hire. Thesis credits there, you'll see that those make up the predominance of the second year. So first year didactic coursework can be pretty much wrapped up in the January time frame of the year. The rest of this time will be highly focused on a research project, and that immersion and that complete dedication to a problem is what will translate into the skill of critical thinking and creativity that a master's graduate should have, and that they can bring to an employer. Next slide. So another unique feature of the MSPS program at Roseman, it's the only Master of Science in Pharmaceutical Sciences in Utah or Nevada. And combining that feature with what Dr. Talbot presented as an industry environment that is burgeoning and is the top in terms of growth nationwide in Utah, is a good combination. So this program is going to be able to train the workers and the staff and the creative thinkers that companies, both established and new, are going to be demanding in our local area. So this 2-year program is designed to prepare graduates for entry-level positions in those types of companies. And with that in mind, it is designed with internships, mentoring, networking, and partnerships that will maximize the opportunities for employment after graduation. In terms of a training environment and a learning environment, it is excellent at Roseman. We have research facilities and education facilities designed with the student experience in mind. And again, another a great feature of this program is that there really is no ceiling on where you can go with it. If you desire more training, more opportunity, the Master of Science in Pharmaceutical Sciences prepares you very well for seeking those opportunities, whether that be a professional program in healthcare or advanced graduate studies as a doctoral program. The degree and the experience prepares students very well for that. Next slide. And a unique feature of the program, and one that was inspired in part by the unique set of circumstances we all went through in the past year as both learners and educators, is the delivery mode of this program. So high flex delivery is sort of a combination word of hybrid and flexible. Didactic content will be delivered in person, face-to-face, in keeping with the foundational philosophy of Roseman, that teaching should be done face-to-face and up close. However, we know that students have diverse preferences and diverse schedules. So while the delivery is happening in person, it is also going to be broadcast remotely. So available either through live remote feed or recorded and watched later. So this combines the live and the virtual classroom, and it leaves it open to student choice in terms of how they receive that didactic content, all while trying to keep access to faculty as open and available as possible, whether that's in person or remotely. We have an academic start of September 7th. Class times for this didactic content will be between 12 and 3 Pacific time, 1 and 4 Mountain. So afternoon type schedule there for the coursework. Alternating on Wednesdays, we will have journal club and seminar. So as you can see, it's a nice, robust didactic curriculum that's going to stimulate that creative thinking and that immersion into a research problem that is the hallmark of a good master's program. And I will now turn this over to Dr. Talbot to talk a little bit about admissions for our programs.
Dr. Awan, Dr. Sayer, thank you for your help. I hope all of you that are listening can appreciate some of the expertise and qualifications that they both bring to these programs, training from some of the best institutions in the country. These two leaders bring to these programs. So from an admission standpoint, a couple of tips, I guess, for us. The process is outlined here on the slide. So there's 2 different websites that you can go to apply to our program. Our application deadline technically is August 1st, though we would call this rolling admissions, so to speak. We won't wait until that time to evaluate candidates and make admissions decisions. So one of the tips that I would offer today is to don't wait. apply early because as we see your application and have the opportunity to consider your qualifications and potential, as we see that potential, we're going to make admissions decisions quickly. You'll see some of the requirements there, an application, and there's always a fee associated with that. We'd like to hear from some people who know you well. So we ask for letters of recommendation. And then we ask you to write a little bit, not a lot, but we just want a sense of why you're particularly interested in our programs, and of course, get to know your background. So that's the process. So first tip is don't wait, apply early. The second tip that I would offer is we are very accessible. So you can reach out to any of us that are on this call. So myself, Dr. Sayer, Dr. Awan, Ms. Diatavio, each of us are intimately familiar with these programs, and we are happy to speak with you directly and answer your questions. Monica, if you will advance the slide. And to that end, the third suggestion I would make is that now that many of us, Roseman has been an institution that has been offering the COVID-19 vaccines to our local communities. And so we really feel very comfortable and have the opportunity to have people onto our campuses safely. So we invite you to come and to see us, to meet us personally, to see our campuses, whether you're in Nevada or Utah, to be able to see our research facilities, talk with some of our faculty and some of our other students. A week from tonight, here in Nevada at our Henderson campus, June 16th, we'll have an open house and invite you to come and attend. A week from tomorrow afternoon in Utah at our South Jordan campus, again, just south of Salt Lake, we'll be having a similar event with some swag that we'll give out, some refreshments, and an opportunity to visit together. Please put that on your calendars. We would love to see you there. And for those of you on the call that are academic advisors, we will be in touch with you with some of these details. We're pretty excited to get back to normal, so to speak, as we have the opportunity to interact in person. Next slide, please. So as we conclude this portion, I just want to thank everyone for being here. Very excited for your interest in our programs. We are absolutely thrilled for the launch of these programs to start this September. To have students who can receive this training, get these opportunities and experiences that we think are going to prepare them for either future academic opportunities, future training opportunities, or just to go into the workforce and be highly competitive in our regions. We're excited. With that, I think we would open it up to questions. So happy to answer any of those. You've got a couple of ways you can do this. You can unmute and just be brave and ask us a question, or if you feel more comfortable, use the chat feature on Zoom. We're probably all very familiar with that by now. We also welcome you again, if you have any questions after this evening, to reach out directly to us. Any questions we can answer this evening?
Yeah, I think I have one question. So after this presentation, I felt interested in this program, but I got one question because I just heard about that. It says after the successful completion of the program, you will have a guaranteed final interview. What does you mean by the successful completion? Is it by GPA or what?
Yeah.
Can you explain about that?
Great question. Thank you for asking it. So really, a better way for us to say that is successful progress, good academic standing. So let me answer your question very briefly and then provide a little bit of context. You won't actually have to finish the Master of Science programs in order to qualify for that guaranteed interview in any Roseman professional program. but we do need you to be in good academic standing. So what does that mean for Roseman? So again, we have a block system, right? So we don't take 5 courses at once and ask you to juggle those things. We really immerse you in one content area at a time. And we also provide you with 3 opportunities to pass that course, meaning we assess a test, if you will. If a student struggles in that area, then we come back at it. We review, we have some personal interaction, and then we reassess and give you another opportunity. And if perhaps for those very few students that may be struggling still, we come back at it a 3rd time and give you another opportunity. We would need you to keep up in that regard for academic progress. As you're successful in completing and staying on track, then you would be invited, if you're interested, to interview in those professional programs. I hope I addressed that question. So seeing a couple of others here in the chat, looks like Monica's been offering some, is the program in person? Well, it's what this is, the ideal personalized educational experience. Some students learn better in a classroom, and we will offer our programs in person for those students that would like to be there. So for example, we'll have a classroom, we'll have a professor in that classroom, we'll have teaching that will be occurring. If a person either is unavailable or prefers to learn at home, we will provide you with the synchronous or asynchronous links to that material. So in that sense, it's ideally suited to you, whichever learning style suits you best. And in fact, for particularly the Masters of Science in Biomedical Sciences, the 10-month program, almost the entirety of that program can be completed without physically being present here. So it's not online per se, because we afford many opportunities for students that choose to be in person, but it can, the degree requirements can be completed virtually. For the 2-year program in pharmaceutical sciences, there's a research component that is significant. That's a key component of the training for that degree. And that research training could potentially occur somewhere else. That's okay. Or off-site. If an employee of a current company is looking for professional development and pursuing their master's degree, our program is for you. We can very much accommodate that. But the research component will be a requirement, whether it's with one of our faculty here at Roseman or with conducting research at an off-site institution. So just some additional questions I see coming into the chat here, and if any of you want to chime in, feel free. Are the courses by grades or pass-fail? Roseman is a mastery, learning, or competency-based institution, so it's a 90% pass, with us helping you get over that bar and having multiple attempts, multiple opportunities to achieve that mastery of information.
Question, Jeff.
Yeah, please.
If we've already applied to dental school this past cycle, is there a way that we could have all that information in our application be used for this application? Meaning, like the letters of recommendation, all of my transcripts and everything like that. Is that possible? Just since that's already been sent to you guys, is there a way to already have that?
Yeah, Ryan, great question. I'm going to defer to Dr. Awan. I think that we can do that, but I'll defer to him to confirm.
Yeah, Ryan, I think we have access to all those, but as a process, if you can resubmit all those as part of the admission process, that would be good, because, this would be a separate admission process, and the DMD is different, but you can always use the letter of recommendation, which you use for the DMD application, and the transcript, obviously, yeah.
Awesome, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Great, Ryan, thanks. There's another question from Nushra. Is the MBS program offered on both campuses? Yes, if we didn't make it clear, both programs will be offered in both states. So we will have students here in Nevada, we will have students in Utah for both the biomedical sciences masters, as well as the pharmaceutical sciences masters. And it looks like some of these other questions are getting addressed. Angela, how competitive is admissions? Oh, that's difficult to say. We're looking for the very best students that we can get, and we believe that some of those students are on this call. I think the best way to answer that question, Angela, is to contact us directly. Let us have a conversation with you and get to know you a little bit, and talk about yours or other students that you may recommend, their qualifications, and we're very, very interested in helping this opportunity be available to as many who we can.
I had a question.
Sure.
So you mentioned how you don't have to, I don't know if I heard this correctly, but you mentioned that you don't have to fully complete the program in order to be offered an interview.
Uh-huh.
So if I were to apply this cycle, like that cycle just started in June for the dental school, and also apply to this, would it help with the cycle that starts next year? Like, would it help with the admissions for that cycle?
Right. Yeah. So I'll offer a brief comment and then turn it to Dr. Awan for anything he would add. The genesis of the idea for the 10-month Masters in Biomedical Sciences was the leadership of our College of Dental Medicine. That's where the idea came from. They have a strong interest in helping students that maybe weren't quite successful in their dental admission process to have an opportunity to get a little bit more experience, some more training. Nushra, an important element of this is that students in that program will be taught by many of the same professors, will be taught using the Roseman model. So when you, as you successfully progress through the Masters of Biomedical Sciences program or Pharmaceutical Sciences, our admissions offices for our other professional degree programs are going to know, not wonder, they will know that you can be successful in a Roseman model of education at the level at which we teach. And that will be a strong consideration for them. There isn't a guaranteed placement, and I want to be very clear about that. But the notion, the genesis of this program was, let's help some of these students be even more qualified, and so we can get to know them when they come back around through that admission cycle. A long-winded answer, but Dr. Awan, would you add anything there?
Yeah, Nushra, so most of you may have this question in the mind, how we would assess a satisfactory progress during the course. So there would be a graduate studies committee in place. And like when you submitted your application for the DMD program, you were asked for a letter of recommendations. So a letter of recommendation from that committee showing that you have performed well throughout the course and you'll be a strong candidate for the DMD program, and that letter would be forwarded internally to the admissions office for the DMD program, and that would support and sort of provide information about your satisfactory progress in the BMS or MSBS program.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, just one more thing to clarify. So basically, you won't have to. So you don't have to wait till the 10-month is complete. So if I don't have to wait till next year to apply to dental school. I would be able to apply this year along with doing this graduate course.
So I don't understand, this year would be difficult because the master's program start in September. So by then this year classes would be finalized. So it would be applicable next year.
Okay.
Yeah, Nushra, the cycle that we're on, we're in the admission cycle for the 21-22 academic year. And for a prospective student that was admitted into our program, into the biomedical sciences program or pharmaceutical sciences, whichever, they could potentially apply for the following academic year, 22-23, for one of our professional programs like dental medicine.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, I have a question.
Yeah. Hi, Catherine.
Hey, I'm kind of interested if any of you can provide any insights about postgraduate trends. So specifically, you mentioned that people who get the pharmaceutical sciences degree, they'll go into the pharmaceutical industry or nutraceuticals, something like that. But I'm curious if there's any idea what specific jobs people with a master's degree in pharmaceutical sciences can get.
Yeah, great question. And again, I'll probably offer a comment and then ask Dr. Sayer if he has any additions. So the feedback that we're getting from industry is that there's an increasing interest in master's trained scientists. Quite frankly, it's some of the same qualifications and training that can be a little bit more affordable for companies versus the PhD. So that's feedback that we've gotten, particularly from the pharmaceutical industry. In the companies with which we have some experience and interaction, the master's trained scientists will be even more competitive for not just job placement, but growth, right? It's a different skill set. Those with bachelor's training perhaps would be more ideally suited for technical work, processes, understanding methodology and being able to perform that methodology. With the master's training that we're going to provide, Catherine, now you have a scientist who's trained to think and evaluate and analyze and propose and create and manage and be more administrative in a upward trajectory or growth trajectory. I think that's what I would offer. Some of that's anecdotal, but maybe we can talk offline and share some more specifics. Casey, any other thoughts that you would share?
Yeah, so in terms of the type of work that you would be doing in that company, entry-level scientists would be the kind of positions that you'd be looking at. Now, once you get into a company, that can mean you may wear multiple hats. So there will be, depending on the company. For example, if it's a new startup, and and they need someone with some scientific expertise, you may be more involved in regulatory type work or writing grants. It just kind of depends on what the company needs, and that's the one of the good things about a master's degree is it shows that you have some flexibility and ability to learn new skills, adapt, and problem solve. So you'll be applying as probably entry-level scientist is the name of the position, but what you will be doing can vary, and it'll also vary in your project expertise. So if you had a project that was heavily involved in analytical chemistry and developing methods of analyzing things, that might be the type of work you do in the company. Or if you were involved in basic pharmacology, that it would be that sort of work. So it can kind of depend on the project you train on and the environment skills that you learn in that project.
Thank you. Can I ask a follow-up to that? I just was curious if you guys know, like, what percentage of people who obtain a master's degree in pharmaceutical sciences, how many of those people go straight into industry, or is it more prepping for a PhD? Like, what kind of percentage breakdown is that?
From my experience, that it's variable. I would say 50%. 50% students find they want to go right into industry, and the other half are like, I want to continue. I want to go get a PhD, or I'm interested in this clinical stuff I've kind of been exposed to. I want to go do a professional degree now. So, and it really is person to person to person. Some people change their minds too. I was one of those people that changed their minds. I got into a professional program as a PharmD student and found out I really liked research and wanted to do graduate school after that. So it can depend and it can change, but you know, numbers wise, I'd say half and half. But what do you think, Dr. Talbot?
Yeah, I was kind of considering that as well. Catherine, why don't we chat offline, and we can provide you with some more hard data on that. But I think I would agree with Dr. Sayer that there are increasing employment opportunities that quite frankly are really nice. And I share this number hesitantly because I don't want anyone that's still on the call to assume or misunderstand, but some data that was published recently within the last several years by the American Association of Pharmaceutical Scientists suggested that the median salary for an MS in pharmaceutical science degree holder was over 110 grand a year. Now, again, I want to put a strong caveat around that. That is a national number and takes into account a wide array of employment opportunities. I would probably be uncomfortable with promoting that as a benchmark for someone looking at that degree, but I do think it's informative as to the growing demand for and earning potential for the training associated with the degree in that field. It just is. Now, to keep Dr. Sayer's point, and I'll be brief, a lot of folks catch the bug and want to keep going with their training and going to the terminal degree, but increasingly there are opportunities to just utilize it and go have a great career with it. Excellent questions, Catherine. Thanks. I think one last question that's here, and then perhaps we can close. Angela asks, are the program seats limited? And I'm gonna answer yes and no. So we have some target enrollment goals that we have an idea of the number of students that we would like to enroll in each program. What I would share with you is that those numbers are not set. We are going to seriously consider each qualified student. We think we have a lot of capacity to train, but we also have the ability to really work with smaller groups if that's what's best. So not really, Angela. We can, if someone is well trained and we think that this is the right fit for them, we're more than happy to enroll. So I think with that, I just crossed the hour mark. What a delight it's been to visit with each of you virtually to share some information about the program. Again, want to encourage you to reach out to ask your questions, get to know us. We're willing to interact with you individually. For the advisors that have been on the call, please share, spread the word about these programs. They're new, but we think that there's tremendous opportunity for the graduates of these programs. We look forward to hearing from you and are excited if you can make it in next week, either to our Henderson or South Jordan campuses to come visit us in person. We look forward to meeting you in person. Thanks, Dr. Sayer, Dr. Awan, Monica. Thank you, everyone, for attending, and have a very good evening.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.